is unethical. This is unethical. This is unethical. Dirty Mouth Radio, Dirty Mouth Radio. This is unethical. This is unethical. This is unethical. Dirty Mouth Radio, Dirty Mouth Radio. This is unethical. This is unethical. This is unethical. Dirty Mouth Radio, Dirty Mouth Radio. This is unethical. This is unethical. This is unethical. Dirty Mouth Radio, Dirty Mouth Radio.
What up? It's your boy Kemetic Energy, and this is Dirty Mouth Radio. Dirty Mouth Radio, produced by Livewire Sound and Entertainment.
It's your girl Golden.
It's Sade.
We got a special guest in the building. Oh, my bad. I'm missing somebody. Go ahead, son. that was no shade, man. I was too excited.
Son, you did that on purpose, son. That's cold, son. I known you for how many years now, son? You forgot about me, son?
I ain't mean to do that, son. My bad.
Son, I ain't robbing no banks with your ass. You gonna forget me in the vault and shit. It's your boy Cray Newt, man. Sure.
Oh man, and we got the guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Papa Lou.
What's happening?
What's poppin', brother?
All this
Well, man, back in the building to bless y'all with some more financial advice. You know, I'm just excited that we back up in the studio. Yeah. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, because this virtual thing was horrible.
I swear, if I heard another, this is golden, you know, a little, you know, unresponsive, you know, slow connection and shit, you know, that's killing me.
Yeah. It's nice to have the physical interaction.
Yeah, that's always good. Yeah. So I got a little Kemetic history, man. So if y'all want, I can drop a little knowledge before Papa Lou takes over and just drop some more weight on everybody else, you know.
That works.
That's cool. All right, so everybody knows about Mansa Musa, right?
Yeah.
You know, he was worth $400 billion, and he pretty much toppled the economy in Africa and everything. Well, there was this lady here in the United States, and she wasn't worth nowhere near that much, but she, her name was Mary Ellen Pleasant, right? And she was pretty much the first African-American female self-made millionaire in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
Before Madam C.J. Walker, you know. And the way she did it was dope as shit. It was on some, like, she was really covert with her shit. So with her, she was born in 1814, right? And she was separated from her parents, and she was working as a domestic servant for a white family in Massachusetts. What she did was, since she was free, of course, and being in Massachusetts, she worked with some the people that she worked for, pretty much. They were wealthy, and she would listen in on their conversations of how they were making money. Okay. And she was getting a little bit of money, and she made enough to move to San Francisco. And she did that in 1852 during the gold rush.
Okay.
So she worked as a domestic servant and a chef for another wealthy business person. So at that time, you know, it was dismissive for African-American women, you know, to have any type of, you know, like be in a good position, pretty much, at that time. So with her, she listened to more of the investments that they made and all of pretty much the juicy gossip, you know, all that stuff that they were talking. And she was actually making $500 a month, which was a lot at that time. Okay. And she was putting most of her money into those investments. Oh, wow. With that, she made, she made as much as $30 million at one time in her investment portfolio.
All by ear hustling.
All by ear hustling and grinding.
That's how you got to do it.
Yo, I couldn't believe it. I was like, yo, you freaking serious. But she did it. Of course, she didn't do it alone. So she had a dude with her. And this is where, like, the scheming took place even more. So it was kind of like remember the movie The Banker? How they had the white guys to face?
Yeah.
Well, she was working with somebody else, this guy named Thomas Bell. And their partnership made them even more wealthy. So what they did, they started buying local businesses, starting with like laundromats, and they bought a series of boarding houses. And she disguised herself as a servant so she wouldn't, because she had a lot of money. And of course, that was going to draw a lot of red flags. So she worked with this guy, and he was white. So she made it look like she was the servant and she was having an affair with him. Like that she was the mistress and shit.
So was he the pink guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were working together. She bought some dairies. She bought restaurants. She even bought Wells Fargo.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
And her name was?
Damn, I got me going back. Pleasant. Mary Ellen Pleasant. Yeah.
Mary Ellen Pleasant.
I could not believe it, yo. And then she said, in the paper that I'm reading, her fortune totaled what would be $864 million.
Wow.
I couldn't believe that shit. Like, that was incredible.
What was the time period?
This was around the 1800s.
Well,
now, this was actually in 1852. So,
1852.
yeah, so she didn't flaunt her wealth, of course, but she did buy a 30-room mansion worth $100,000 at the time, which would be $2.4 million. And her family and Thomas Bell's family moved in there. And it made it look like he was...
Was she really having an affair with him, or they was just making it seem?
Nah, it was a front.
Yeah, it was all a front.
It was a front.
Because, they would take, a black woman with that type of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, hell, it's 2020, and in business, we still have to front.
You have to front.
You gotta.
You can't, you know what I'm saying? You just...
Because we not getting these loans like they are.
Yeah, that's true. She also bought a 985-acre ranch, and it's now a vineyard. But she was actually using her money at that time, since she had so much. She was working with the Underground Railroad, and she was getting the people, making sure they were straight once they got out of there. And
Gotcha.
Yeah, so.
And speaking of putting on the front, did y'all see where that interracial couple, where they were getting their house appraised? And,
Yes.
And when the black woman was in the picture, they valued it less. And then when they did it again, which is her white husband in the picture, they gave it its true value.
Are you serious?
Right.
Yo, yeah.
What? Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy as hell. But it just makes me think, like, the things they dealt with back then, we still deal with. It's
Right.
just kind of like, I can't even say it's hidden.
It's
It's
not hidden.
It's blatant in our face, but you got to read in between the lines to see it. I guess that's the best way for me to really explain it.
Right.
I think that shit
That's
is
crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
Like they say, it's hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean,
So, like, did her wealth?
go ahead.
Did they say any? My bad.
No, go ahead.
Did they say anything about like where her wealth has gone now? Like, did it follow down the generations, or was it just like one of those times?
That was
point in time?
That was the sad part of the story. So when Thomas Bell died, right? His wife sued Mary Ellen.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, and the saga continued.
Yeah.
Oh, basically kind of how Bangers was, where...
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
she died in poverty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy. See, sometimes them,
yeah.
I
ain't
couldn't
going there.
believe it. Man.
that be some backstabbing, double crossing.
But
And
that's who they
he
are,
wouldn't have
though.
been there where he was at if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
Oh, you mother sucker.
That's how that shit
But
goes.
it makes me wonder, though, right? Like, in that situation, because I would assume that as that partnership progressed, there were one or both sides had some sort of legal counsel, right? Like I'm pretty sure they had a legal counsel that was representing them jointly.
Yeah.
But I would have, advised if let's say I'm in that time and I know her and I know what's going on,
Yeah.
right? I'd say, hey, listen, I know y'all have a joint legal counsel, but you might want to get your own personal counsel
Yeah.
to go over whatever you have established with him to see if there's any loopholes in whatever contract y'all have now that could put you in this position.
Yeah.
Because essentially what that man's wife did was she sued Miss Pleasant
Yeah.
in order to keep that family estate running.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because when you think about the time period at that time, it just wasn't, whether you were melanated or not, as a woman to make moves like that is so unheard of.
Yeah.
And so with her husband dying, depending upon whatever life insurance that he may or may not have had, the only way for her family to sustain their status was to have to go after his business partner to absolve 100% of the assets of that partnership.
But they probably ain't even have all that extra counsel and stuff back
Of course
then.
not.
And of course, her being black, I'm sure they
Especially,
wasn't
yeah.
going to give it to her.
Right.
And that was the
she
key
probably-
thing with
She
it.
probably ain't have the
Especially
counsel. He
for a
probably
black
did.
woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's and once again, it's
And that
dealing
might
with
have been the plan from the beginning.
patriarchal society.
That ball was in his court.
Yeah.
And also, to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, it seemed like when you have partnerships like that, and you get in some cases, and you get the spouse to the partner may always have a different view on things, and it's like the person in the partnership is like, this is how it's got to go, and in her mind or in his mind, it's like, nah, we ain't gonna rock with this. I'm not feeling this, but I'll go along with it for
I'm
now.
gonna lay and wait
Yeah, and
until-
then I'm gonna attack.
until I can.
And the bad part about it was she didn't have her her name on most documents
Right.
because she was trying
she was
to
trying to
lay
stay
low.
hidden.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
So,
When
and
they
then
took
the
it to
woman-
court, she lost.
of course.
And the white woman probably was hating from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part too.
Yeah, it wasn't no way she was going to win that.
That shit was crazy.
Even if everything did fall in her, you know what I'm saying, in her favor, she still wasn't going to win that in the courts. In 1850, you said 1855?
52.
52.
God,
It was around that time.
So-
Yeah.
And you gotta think too, right? Like in that dynamic, right? Because there's so many different ways to look at that, and one of the things, just looking at it from what essentially was going on then, and still today.
Yeah.
But when you talk about having a spouse in that partnership, I could imagine that maybe that man's wife came from the mindset of, I'm cool with her
Yeah.
being a multimillionaire, billionaire. I'm cool with her,
Yeah.
right? But the minute that it was found out that she was using a portion of what she gained
Yeah.
to give access and grant access and strategic planning and resources to the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then you get into that ideology of, well, it's okay if you do well, but nobody else like you can do well. And the minute, and that tends to happen with us, which is why a lot of melanated folks who make it are so leery of how they strategically reinvest their resources back into their own communities out of fear of those silent partners
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
pulling out of the partnership or doing something underhanded because
Taking everything you work for.
because you're giving resources to people who they really don't want to have resources.
Right,
You know,
right.
because there's all these hidden quotas.
Yeah,
right? You know,
yeah.
you can't have too many melanated billionaires. Can't have too many black folks owning acreages of land, being able to buy a Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
When you read her resume, that's economic power.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's economic power that could, as Brother Justin said, transfer to her lineage, right? Passed down generationally.
Yeah.
And at this point, the only thing that we clearly know of is a vineyard now.
Yeah.
That is making money for somebody else.
Yeah. They say they got a little statue in San Francisco for it.
Right.
That's pretty much it. She died at the age of 90 in 1904 in her friend's house.
So when did she go broke?
Right. Huh? When did she go broke? What year did she get sued by that?
Damn it, y'all got me going back.
Sorry, we just need
So
to know.
So you say she died in, what'd you say?
1904. She was 90 years old.
So
And it
what
started in
the
1852.
question becomes how quickly did her business partner's wife sue her? If she started those proceedings, let's just say she started them 60 days after he passed away, right? And I'm only using that because there's like a 30, 60, 90 thing with settling estates when it comes to death. Then it could have been that within a year's time, she could have lost everything that she had worked for by the time that case settled, because that's not like an open and shut. There's all kind of documentation and paperwork that has to be looked over, and the judge has to make judgments on.
When you talking about, and also you talking about what we would do now, they probably didn't even do all that.
Right.
They probably say, "Oh, this is a case. You white, she black. She ain't got nothing."
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Like that. Like, what is this bullshit?
We're not even gonna get the paperwork.
We know damn well she ain't make this damn money. She worked down here at the hotel.
She was the
a
cook.
servant.
She was the cook.
What do you mean the cook has this?
What you mean? She was back there scrambling eggs. She wasn't doing that.
Right. And she was giving
more
him.
than 10 minutes in
She was
that
giving
damn
him stock and rice. Right.
So
The judge was dropping the gap before the girl even walked in the damn room.
Yeah, you know it.
You're
And
right.
then if they were disguising themselves as her the mistress, you don't know what do I. You know how them women be.
True.
They say
Because he probably could have had a mistress for real.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
They probably ain't even let her in the courtroom. And then she about that.
That part.
I'm like,
That part.
damn.
So they said that he died in 1892. So it doesn't say how far after she sued him, but I mean, if you just do the math, she died in 1904 in poverty. He died in 1892.
Yeah.
12 years.
12, yeah. So, yeah.
It's sad, man.
Well, she lived it up for a little bit.
Yeah. She had some. She made some moves.
Well,
And they ain't have no stocks back then, did they? Nah.
Yeah. They had certificates.
Well, you got to remember where the origin of the stock market comes from.
Yeah, man.
To begin with. So,
We were the stock.
we were the stock.
Yeah, man.
So, but that's the thing, though. I think if you take nothing else from that piece of history, is that it's what I've been saying since you all first let me, come and kick it with you all on your show, is that the most powerful tool to make any sort of strategic move when you talk about finances and wealth building will always be knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And there's a wealth of knowledge to be gained by reading and researching, but there's also a wealth of knowledge from just being in the right place, sitting in the corner and ear hustling.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people have always asked me what made me get into like cigars, right? And it's because when I worked at a country club in high school, watching these cats make $1 million business deals in the back room of the country club, smoking cigars and playing bridge and pinochle. That's when I personally learned that the stuff you see in media with all these dudes sitting around a boardroom, that's just for the final paperwork and for the photo op. The real deal was started and made in somebody's back room with a select few.
Yeah.
And anytime you have access to that, and in that time frame, anybody doing domestic work that was trusted to be in the physical room that those people were in were sitting on a gem, sitting on a gold mine. It was a matter of just listening and having a little bit of base knowledge of what they're talking about. And then I would also say having someone that you trust that could possibly break some stuff down that you're not quite catching.
Yeah.
So.
Damn. That's crazy, man. Well, the floor is all yours, Pop. You continue, man. That's all I had.
Well, I mean, you know me, I'm kind of open form. Like you had said something about a financial recap or
the
checkup or whatever.
Yeah, the financial progress report.
Progress report, yeah.
For the pandemic.
So, well, I mean, I guess I'll start here. You know, let's backtrack. One of the things that I talked about, of course, knowledge, right? Learning as much as you can and researching as much as you can about the different avenues of finance because it's so broad, right? And the word investing is broad. And then one of the homework pieces that I talked about was to research and then hopefully select some sort of life insurance policy.
Yeah.
Right, because that's just something that we need.
Yeah.
Right. So I would hope that listeners who were listening and taking heed and taking notes would at this point have some sort of life insurance policy that if nothing else, if you are fortunate to be a homeowner at this time, you have a life insurance policy that will at least pay your home off. That way, your loved ones are not left with that mortgage, in your untimely demise. And then I also talked about seeking reputable sources for, like a financial planner. Yeah. And honestly, an accountant, someone, I think, no shade to the H&R Blocks and the Liberty Taxes, but most of those are just, they find people that need a job, put them through some very minimal training to plug numbers into a generic system. Yeah. I do believe that everyone at some point should invest in a true accountant to handle their taxes because a true accountant really knows and keeps up with the tax code every year, with changes, and knows what questions to ask you before they even start putting numbers in. Because if you answer certain questions the right way, it changes your liabilities. So, I mean, that, if you ever just did it like on TurboTax, it always asks you, did you get married this year? Yeah. Did you buy a house? Student loans, all of those things are questions that plug you in for different types of tax credits and deductions. And having someone who knows that by heart, and also knows your portfolio. When I transitioned from my original accountant back home in Greensboro to the one I go to here, first thing he asked was to see like my last 5 years of returns because he wanted to see what the original guy was doing so he could keep up, on schedule. Yeah. So yeah, life insurance, financial planner, some sort of accountant, and a lot of times you can find those two together. Financial planners a lot of times double as accountants, and so that way you got one person looking at your books. That's on top of it. And then from there, I was talking about debt elimination, getting, trying to pay down as much debt as you can. Yeah. So the hot topic as of lately that a lot of people have been talking about, specifically within the market, is what happened with Apple and Tesla.
Yes.
Okay, break it down, brother.
I'll let you.
So, and that was a glorious day. that was, I ain't gonna front, because I already had several shares of Apple beforehand. And when I tell you, when I saw that news about them, the stock split, like, I ran to my financial advisor like he was the real man. Like, yo, can you front me, bro? I'm about to flip it. I'm gonna flip it, you know.
Yeah.
But one of the questions that I've gotten asked, just in general conversation, well, what is a split? Like, what does it mean when a stock split?
Yeah.
So the most basic layman's definition of it is basically when a company has realized that their product, their brand, whatever it is that they deal in, is undervalued based on the amount that's available on the market.
Yeah.
And
that's the book value, right?
The book value. And so what they'll do is they will split it in order that it makes more shares that are available on the market to buy, and then thusly causing each share to go down in the cost.
Yeah,
but the value remains the same.
Okay.
So the best way to explain it is whether I give you $1 billion bill, if let's say $1 billion bill existed, right? If I give you that $1 billion bill at this table, you're the only one that has access to that $1 billion. Whereas if I take that $1 billion and I split it 1 billion different ways, it's still $1 billion.
But you got $1.
But everybody gets access to it. Everybody, more people are allowed to invest in it. And so at the time, if you didn't have, because Apple was floating between, I say, like the 250 to like 300 range. Right. It kind of just was just coasting for like the last 6 to 8 months. As the news spread that it was going to split, where one share was going to turn into 4. Right? What does that mean? Oh, let me hurry up, because that's the thing. The split was only going to be effective for current investors.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not like I'm going to wait till the split, then I'm going to get in, which you can. Let me rephrase that. If you didn't have, because once that news came out, it jumped. It pretty much doubled. It went up to like $485 a share, $500 a share. But the point is that at the time, if you had enough spare cash to at least buy one share, just one share, and sit on it for less than 30 days,
you would have had 4.
You would have woke up on September 1st with now 4 shares of Apple for the same price. At the end of the day, your original $500 investment still adds up to $500. It's just been split 4 ways. So, thus giving you a little bit more negotiation is the word that I keep coming up with in my head at the trading table. Right? Because let's say, all right, cool, I now have 4 shares of Apple. I'm going to sell a share, right? And I'm going to take that money and I'm going to take that $148 and I'm going to invest it in something like Verizon, where now I can buy 3 shares of Verizon. See what I'm saying? And then as you start getting dividends from something like Verizon, you could then take and reinvest some of that money, your dividend money, back in and buy another couple shares of Apple down the line.
That's a drip, right?
Yeah, it's a drip effect. So,
man, that was. I just say that right there was like the biggest nightmare for me. So I had a fractional share of Apple, right? I bought literally $5,
right,
a fractional share of Apple a couple months ago. So I got the news. I said 4 for 1. What is a 4 for 1 split? And I did my research. I said, oh snap! So I can get 4 shares if I get this 1 share. Back then, it was like, I think it was like $200 for that share. And I'm like, all right, I got to find a way to get this $200. I got to find a way to get this $200 so I can flip this to get 4 damn shares of Apple. Didn't do it. So I got.
Should have called me. Should have called me, bro.
Couldn't do it. I could not do it. And I heard about it late, and it was only like a couple more days before that actually went into effect. So I really had to rush to find some type of way to get it, and I couldn't get it. So my stuff, I did get 4 times worth, but I still don't have a full share of Apple.
Complete share.
I bought some when it split.
and
I don't know nothing about no stocks. I bought some.
So here's the deal, right? So, and I look at a split this way. There's a dual way to look at it. You look at it from a current investor side, right?
Yeah.
So like, you look at it as a current investor, it doesn't necessarily change your dollar amount.
Yeah.
But it gives you more shares to play with, right? And thusly increasing the overall value of your portfolio. But even the new investor still gains from it because it now gives someone who may not have that type of liquid excess cash flow to play with, the ability to get into a hot stock, right? Because we all know that when it comes to the tech world, Apple ain't going nowhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Right? They sell too many products and services to really go anywhere. They have cornered their particular avenue in the market when it comes to the tech field. So, and you know, the old adage, you know, team Android, team iPhone, that constant fight. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all tech.
Yeah.
But to anyone who wasn't able to necessarily benefit from the split where your whatever you had seemed to have doubled overnight, I still say if you got 150 bones to play with, which I'm just shooting out numbers. I don't know exactly where it's sitting at right now in real time. I would say, if you had something planned for this weekend that wasn't like an important thing, like, if you was going to treat yourself to like an object, I would say take that $150 and buy you a share of Apple, right? And the reason why I say that is because let's say you don't ever buy another share, right? Splits happen again, right? I'm not going to say it's going to happen next week or next year, but they happen. And the thing with the market, like I've said time and time before, if you're going to trade, right? If you're going to be a trader, and if you're going to play with single stocks versus mutual funds, it's all about research and striking when the time is just right.
That's true.
Right? I mean, it is as the corner boys would say, buy low, sell high. You feel me? Like it's the same principle.
I had gotten a message on my phone this morning, and they were saying Apple stock is expected to double now.
Of course, because more people have access to it. Right. At the end of the day, right? I talk about this all the time. Part of our material makeup as individuals, as humans, is being able to see something as attainable. Right. And in these COVID times, the average person may not have $500 to throw at one share. Of a stock, right? Like that $500 could be half their mortgage or their rent or whatever, right? But 150, the way my life is set up, 150, that's a Saturday night out. And everything that I do outside the house, I actually have at the house. So I'm gonna keep my ass at home. I'm gonna smoke the cigars that I got. At the crib, I'm gonna drink the whiskey that I got at the crib, and I'm gonna take that 150. Come Monday morning, which you ain't even really gotta wait till Monday. You can buy it after hours in the queue, and just have because the way mine is, I personally have mine set up on the event that let's say it goes up and I'm short a little bit, it just automatically pull, so that's why I tell people if you set it up right, never be afraid to buy, during the closed portion of the market.
I've done a lot of that.
Because are you going to guarantee that you're going to be up and available at 9:01
right?
To hit buy, right? Because at 01, I've seen prices double. I've seen when something is hot, case in point, it's floated at 150 all weekend. Come 9:01. 225. $275. So
I think that's the biggest thing that people don't realize who, are still new to stocks, that they still tend to fluctuate even when the market's closed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. When they say the market is closed, that just means everybody clocked out for the day. Yeah. The people that work on the market. But commodities, goods, and services are, they go on. Yeah. That's 24 hours, bro. It don't, and, but yeah, I've been telling people just in conversation, like, look, now is the time. If you ever wanted to buy a legit share of Apple, buy it.
Yeah.
Buy it, you know what I'm saying? Buy it now. You can forego, just think about something that is not an absolute necessity and forego it for a week or two.
Yeah.
And now, boom. And now you have a percent, you have a 1 share stake in possibly the company that's sitting in your pocket with your phone or your right now, I don't even think you can get a pair of AirPods for the same price as a share. I think a share of Apple is less than a pair of AirPods right now.
Right now,
for the newest generation of AirPods, anyway.
Yeah.
So, the motherfuckers lose AirPods every day.
That's right.
They probably them things
that's probably why they made them small.
And I'll be honest. So I never forget when they first came out. Right, I was just like, these motherfuckers are genius.
Yeah.
They got a wireless headphone that has no way to stay attached unless you. I mean, third parties make like those little magnet clips, but. So you mean tell me you just gonna go on your 3-mile jog and you'll come home with both of them? Nah, son. One of them, because show me
that sweat and all, you be like.
Well, not only that, but we all human.
Yeah.
Your ear measurements is different than mine.
Yeah.
And that little generic man. Anyway, I'm old school. I like a headphone.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
But yeah, man. So that to answer, I guess that question. Okay, well, what is a split and how does it affect investing and all of that? So that was the most minimal, basic, relatable answer that I could give on that. So
what you got, Craig?
So Lou, for people who don't really pay attention to stocks and like who aren't really into stocks but want to invest in stuff, like what would be the best times to start looking at stock rises and falls, and like just watching the stock market and how it changes? Like, what's the best time frames to look at these things, and maybe like what's the best markets to look at?
So that's a very multifaceted question, but the best way that I could explain it in my experience, because I always have to make sure that this is my personal disclaimer. Lewis R. Gilmore, I am not a certified financial planner, stockbroker, so I never want people to take my word as law. Right. We always say each one teach one, right? So I'm giving my personal perspective of what I've learned along the way. And trust me when I tell you, like, it's funny. I saw a meme this morning that said, what people look like when they first start investing in the market. Yeah. And it's the little baby, and he's like, I've made some good gains, but I done did some crying too. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you first getting into wanting to invest in the market, I always urge people to more so look at like mutual funds. Because mutual funds it's a fund that is treated like your indexes. So your indexes are your S&P, your Dow Jones, where it's a big account that's full of a bunch of different individual stocks.
Yeah.
And I say that because mutual funds offer a more set it and forget it type of operation.
Yeah.
Where you don't necessarily have to research an individual company or individual stock. You research the fund and how that fund performs. And, to quote, the financial god himself, Dave Ramsey, finding mutual funds that outperform the S&P. S&P is Standard & Poor's is the name of that fund. And it has had a average rate of return of 15%. there are other mutual funds that perform just as good, if not better, than the S&P that you can invest in. And so I always encourage people to look into mutual funds because it gives you an ability to put money in and park that money, right? And so then once that has grown and you've gotten a decent rate of return on that money, that's when you can pull from that fund, and that is when you begin to look at individual companies. And y'all know me, I always try to come with a some sort of app or something that people can use. And a friend of mine on Instagram put me onto this. It's an app called Bar Chart.
Bar chart? Okay.
Yeah. And what Bar Chart does, you download it, and then you can it allows you to research all kind of different companies and their ticker symbols that they use on the market. But then when you get it and you click on it, it has these things called cheat sheets. And it allows you to look at the cheat sheets to see different valuations and like future performance and stuff like that. And that gives you a easy, quick way to look at a potential stock that you're thinking about investing in and see whether or not it's valuable to put your money into it. And kind of a somewhat expected time frame. Time frames. I personally don't. I never look at a particular time frame as it being like set in stone. You know what I mean?
Reading the stocks is hard for me. Like the
candlestick charts, time, yeah.
Like,
Looking at like 52-week high and low and all of that, yeah. So I used a partner of mine from the Cigar Lounge that I met years ago, put me onto this entity called Tasty Trade. They have a platform, and on YouTube I just typed in candlestick charts, and about 5 videos I got a decent understanding of how to read them. So yeah, that, like I said, start with the easy stuff, or what I consider the easy stuff, such as mutual funds, and then from there, download that, because there's a plethora of YouTube stuff. There's a plethora of different applications.
Yeah.
On either the Android or the Apple market that break this stock stuff down into layman's terms.
Yeah.
And bottom line, I look at it like this: when you see something that you're interested in, look at how it has performed in the past, and then and I try to tell people, don't get so focused on what that company is necessarily valued at today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
the potential growth, right?
The potential growth, but then also there are some questions you need to ask about that company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say I want to invest in company X. Right. Well, let's do some research on company X. How long have they been around?
Okay. Yeah.
How do they make their money? Right? Do they sell products, services, a combination? What do they do?
Yeah.
That makes them, in essence, valuable, right? Where did their initial startup money come from? These are things to kind of, ask. And then to look at if they've ever been in hard times as a company.
How they handle it.
How they handled it. Right? I tell people, I feel like when it comes to the stock market, it's hard to invest. For me, it's hard to invest in a company that hasn't ever had a hard time yet.
Yeah.
Because you need to know how they handle the speed bumps.
Yeah.
Because every company, I don't care how big or how small it is, every company encounters some sort of financial speed bump. Right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest speed bumps for just about any company that offers products and services right now is the corona.
Yeah, that's the truth.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this pandemic has affected so many different avenues of commerce for any type of business. I mean, I'll speak on, Harley Davidson. I'm an avid Harley guy. I love Harley. I ride them all day long if I could. But one of the problems that they're having is parts. Parts that were normally parts that they would always keep.
Yeah.
You could walk into any dealership and buy. Hell, I needed to replace my cruise control button. It popped off one day, right? Well, I broke it off. I was a little drunk. True. All right, we're gonna be true. We're gonna be truthful on Dirty Mouth Radio. I was hitting that Jim Beam pretty hard one night, and I decided to go into the garage and want to tinker on my bike, and I stumbled, and my cruise control button went flying across the.
I feel you, man.
So,
I feel you.
A year ago,
Yeah.
I could have went to any dealership, said, I need a 2016 Road Glide cruise control button.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, cool. He go in the back.
Yeah.
Took me 4 weeks
Damn.
for it to get here. You know what I'm saying? So I say that as an example to say how the flow of goods and services has definitely been altered due to this. And so this is actually a telltale time to really look at existing companies and see how they have restructured to create the new norm for how they do business. Because it's all fun and games at the cookout, but what happens when the rain comes? How do we continue the party when that thunderstorm that wasn't supposed to be here until next week decided to come?
True test of a man. Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know. I've done a lot of pretty much work on myself since the last time we talked. And ironically, when you came, that was right before the pandemic.
Right.
So when the pandemic first hit, I said, all right, I'm going to take this time out and really hone into everything Lou said and start doing research. And what I did, I looked up Wall Street Trapper. I joined his course. He had a special on it.
Oh, you joined the course?
Yeah.
Good.
He had a special for like $100. It was his birthday. I said, yes, prime time. I'm getting the shit. I got the joint. I looked at everything he had offered. And when I tell you I learned a whole lot about stocks and not just picking them because you think it's a good stock.
Because it feel good.
Yeah.
Because your homie said something.
Exactly. But he actually broke down like the earnings per share, how to look at the book value, how to really look at a company. And from that information that he presented, I created my own little formula of how I buy stocks. Yeah, I mean, literally a binder, and I have I look at this, and this, and this is my judgment. I'll get it now, I won't get it, might get it later. That's kind of how I formulated everything, and it's been working out for me so far. I done made $150 since this pandemic on just with stocks. And between Wall Street Trapper and Derek Grace,
yeah,
I bought his.
Mm-hmm.
So
you bought that too?
Yeah, I bought both of them joints, man.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I'm gonna say something about that, right?
Uh-huh.
So, what I appreciate about Derek Grace and Wall Street Trapper,
Yeah.
like how many of us have been on YouTube, right? And all these ads come up where some dude is pulling up in his red Ferrari, and he's parking it next to his green Ferrari. He's, look at my car.
Yeah.
And I bet you would want to know how to do this. And if you stick with me, and it's 30 minutes of an advertisement, and they haven't even told you like really what it's about.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people invest into that to ultimately learn that whatever it is that they're doing costs stupid money to get into for minimal return.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas you have, and these are just two brothers, right, that have a solid product that really teaches us, right? We always talk about like in education and how it's generally just easier for our children to connect with educators that look like them and that know what their experience is as a melanated child. Well, it's the same way with the dissemination of information. no shade to Warren Buffett, but Warren Buffett is more geared to giving a presentation to those students that come from your Myers Park and your Charlotte Country Day type of environment, right? And that's generally because that's a generational thing of education and understanding about financial literacy.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's Bill Gates' boy right there.
You know, and a lot of that would go over a lot of our heads.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas when you have brothers like the Wall Street Trapper
Can relate more.
that can break it down
Yeah.
so that Ray and Nut and them can, you know, be like, yo, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see it, right?
Yeah.
Not so. I've just learned that not only is the knowledge itself valuable, but how the knowledge is given and received can mean the difference in the value of the knowledge.
Yeah.
So,
Also, what you saying sound like is they underselling themselves with these, what you say, $100 special?
no, you know what? I wouldn't say they're underselling themselves. I would look
They
at
wanna
it
help.
as
I mean,
two
I
brothers
feel
who
it.
are trying
Yeah, I get that.
trying to give as much access as they can.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, because truth be told, they could set their price and say, my price is my price.
Right. Yeah.
If you don't like it, so well, right? But I think the overall greater good between the two gentlemen is they want as many people to get the knowledge as possible.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, what you do with the knowledge is on you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can go out, you can buy every course that anybody has ever sold.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't do nothing with it,
What good is it?
well, good. You know, that my granddad always said, you know, the difference between knowledge and wisdom, say wisdom is the application of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? Like, a lot of us have knowledge,
Yeah.
but it takes wisdom to apply that knowledge, right? How you strategically apply it. So, my granddad had this statement, oh, boy, you know, you dumbing in a bucket of books. And I was like, what? What the fuck does that mean? Right? And then I thought about it. If you have a bucket of books in the corner that nobody's reading, nobody's trying to learn from, then it's just stoic, static, wasted knowledge. So, you know, I appreciate those gentlemen for running the specials that they do.
Yeah.
Because the way I look at it is, let's just say, in your case, that day that you bought it, let's just say that for either one of those gentlemen, that was the only sale that they made that day.
Yeah.
Right? Them strategically pricing it in order to gain that one sale is so valuable, not just in them making money off of their product, but valuable in now there's another person who is going to be equipped with the knowledge to transfer that knowledge in a conversational matter. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we always talk about, you know, I'm a firm believer that once you learn something, it is not yours to hold on to.
Yeah.
You are duly charged to now make sure that someone else obtains that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that is invaluable. When you have someone who's equipped with knowledge who doesn't mind sharing it. And that's the reason why I became so very passionate about having these types of conversations amongst people that look like us, was because of us being shut out. And not just from people that don't look like us, but sometimes from the people that look like us. When that brother in the break room years ago kept telling me he was going to put me on game, and here it is, he took early retirement, and he has never talked to me about how he amassed his wealth as an airline worker. And I figured out how he did from ear hustling and people talking about him in the break room, and I learned that he has like 14 rental properties in Charlotte. He cash flowed both his daughters' tuition at Duke University. I mean, all these great accomplishments, but when a young brother was wanting to get the knowledge on your life, how can I do this as well? It was always, oh yeah, I'll talk to you.
Trying to give it up.
I'll talk to you. I talked to you, never came. Sometimes, but you just got to be that type of person. Say, you know what? Okay, you not working, so I'm gonna go on to the next. You know, and now with social media, because there's a plethora of people who have that type of knowledge that are willing to share it, even if it costs you a little fee. My thing is, the ultimate. You say you just made $150 playing on the stock market, right?
Yeah.
Learn and taking the time to learn something figure out how to apply it to you in your pocket, I feel like you've made a return on your investment.
Definitely.
In buying the literature from those two brothers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, that's a win-win.
Yeah. I mean, it was good with both of them. Derek Grace, his was just, I had to jump on it.
So with that,
his was pretty much getting access to the course as well as getting all of his information. All of it. Everything he's produced. All in one pack.
Right.
A post-Trump pack is what he called it.
Yeah, the post-Trump pack.
And the
because it gives you the game.
Yes.
And I'm sorry for cutting you off. I like his whole demeanor with it because he really takes it from, it's kind of what we was talking about when we're talking about companies and seeing what they do in bad times. Part of his curriculum breaks it down like, okay, cool, you going to learn things good, then boom.
Yep.
This happens. How do you respond?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that is something that tends to that is missing from a lot of financial literacy curriculums.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time on how to build and get to the gains.
Yeah.
But they don't really talk too much about how to take the L's and how to navigate the L's.
Yeah.
And as we all know, with anything in life, you're going to take some L's along the way to the gains, right? It's all a part of the journey.
Yeah.
And the fact that he does spend time to show and teach that, you're going to hit some speed bumps along the way and how you respond to it will make or break you, so to say.
Yeah.
So,
And then he talks about how to protect yourself. Like how you were just talking about with life insurance.
Right.
He was also talking about the difference between a will and a trust.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yes, sir.
I never thought about it, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm like, a will and a trust. Okay, will, this. But a trust will do a whole lot more.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, well, damn, I ain't never thought about that.
No.
And he talks about how to, I think it's called a revocable and irrevocable trust. I'm like, yeah. So it's crazy.
Trusts are interesting. I learned about trust from firearm community.
Okay.
And the power of a trust.
Yeah.
And when I wanted to get into what they call Class 3 weapons and NFA items, so silencers, short barrel rifles, grenades, all the stuff that we laugh about, the big truck, country boys.
Yeah, the Grand Theft Auto guns.
You know what I'm saying? And we were like, damn, how the fuck do they do that?
Yeah.
Well, it's a way to do it.
Yeah.
And to do it legally and to do it in a manner that protects you, right?
Yeah.
And trusts are very powerful. And when done correctly, they really make things like you say, protection and like an airtight kind of deal.
Yeah.
You know, I went to bankruptcy court one time, which that shit is funny. From a personal aspect. No, because I was like, man, I don't want to go, bankruptcy court, my ego.
Yeah.
And then when I walked in bankruptcy court and I saw how many of them was in there, and they was just happy, like, I can't afford it no more. Write it off.
Wow.
But I want to keep it. You know what I'm saying?
They know the game.
They know the game.
Yeah.
And they're going to hold out for a few years and they're going to come back with more shit than they had before.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But dude was in bankruptcy court and all this stuff kept coming up. He was like, nope, I don't own that.
Oh, really?
Nope, I don't know. No, that's in the name of a trust.
Wow.
I'm just an executor. I don't own it.
Wow.
But they be knowing all the games.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and so just even from, protecting yourself in business, when someone wants to try to present legal action against you, well, brother, all I got is this $5 bill in my pocket. So I don't know what assets you're talking about, brother.
Wow.
So
Assets protected.
yeah, man. Because the biggest thing, we always talk about ownership. But once again, the other side of ownership is how do you protect what you have attained, right? Right? Because what good is it to amass a great deal of wealth and you built it, and then all of a sudden, one speed bump or one little knocks every last one of those dominoes down.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what you were once doing to try to pass down to your family is now gone.
Yeah. That's true.
Because like you said, the hard part is getting up the mountain. Going down, that can happen at any point. So
Damn.
So yeah.
Whew. Man. That's a lot to take in.
So check, y'all know me. I'm always, so check this out. My partner put me on game with something. We talk about business, right? Going into business. So he was like, "Yeah, you got your business. You set it up as an LLC, right? And then within the LLC, you can have other entities that have a DBA,
Yes.
Doing business at.
Yeah.
right, within the LLC. And then you can stop using your own personal security number because you give all those businesses EIN numbers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
1099 them. Then, so this whole thing, the government gives an individual a $1,200 stimulus package, right? But it'll give a business $1,000 per employee. So the DBA attached to your LLC is an employee of the LLC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So let's just say you got 10 little entities underneath your LLC. Well, there goes your $10,000 government grant
Damn.
for your 10 employees.
I got some work to do.
Right.
So
Shout out to Livewire Sound Entertainment.
I'm just saying Livewire Sound Entertainment LLC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
You heard that, Craig. You heard that.
I got work to do.
I mean, so listen, I tell people, if for nothing else, even if it's just for some sort of tax purposes, have some sort of business,
Yeah.
right? And make some business cards because you don't have a business until you have business cards.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And that way, you know what? You feel like going to Chipotle for lunch. Leave a business card on the table. That was a business meeting. Right off.
Trips.
Trips.
Yeah.
Like, damn, every time I look around, they getting flued out. They on business. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Then, I mean, when you talk about travel, that's a whole nother realm because, if you start like a legitimate travel business, resorts will pay, like, yo, come stay at our resort for a weekend so you can market to your clientele.
Right.
I ain't sold a trip yet. But they've been to all continents, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Shout out to my cousin for putting me on to that. Yo, I got a cousin that went from barely even going across town to Winston-Salem out of High Point, North Carolina to I'm looking on Instagram and she in the Maldives and places where you got to take 2 big planes, a small plane, and a boat to get to.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And I'm looking like, damn it, I'm the one with flight benefits.
Like, I gotta see how she's doing this.
Oh, man.
Yeah, dog.
So yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty much what I got.
Damn.
I'm just.
I feel you, man. I mean, you dropped enough on us, man. We down for the count, man. It's down goes Frazier out here, man.
Well, hey, man. At the end of the day, I would say, anybody that's listening, by the time you hear this, whatever you can do, don't let Apple creep back up to $500 a share before you get into it.
Yeah.
Get on it.
Yeah.
Try to get you at least one share while it's below $500, just because that right there would be major.
And Tesla split too, right?
Tesla split too.
Yeah.
And they're at 500.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
445, 500.
Yeah, because they
And
were
was at,
originally.
like, 2,000.
Yeah, they was because when I saw that, I said, "Oh no."
22.43
So-
last I seen it at.
Yeah, so that's what I had to do. So I had to talk to my accountant and talk to my financial planner, which are the same person, about how to. Because a lot has happened to me personally in this pandemic, including a car accident. So strategically moving money
Yeah.
without exposing myself to certain tax liabilities has kind of been so it's been this really big game of hopscotch for me personally, but it can be done, right? And case in point, just to drop another gem, if you participate in your employer's 401k plan of some sort, or TSP, I think is what y'all have, do the research to see if they have an ability for you to move a portion of that money into what they call like a brokerage link account, right? So your normal 401k plan, they have a list of whatever funds are in that plan that you can invest in, right? And a lot of times those funds are super conservative because it's about time, right? Just they stretching time out and compounding interest. Yeah. But we also know that there's some more aggressive stuff on the open market. So if you know you need $5,000 to play with to really make the moves you want to make on the open market, well, move $5,000 from your current 401k into a brokerage link account that allows you to invest in funds on the open market outside of the 401k. Oh, wow. So therefore, you're still using your money, but it's not your liquid cash in your savings account. Yeah. So.
Dang.
Okay.
There you go.
Shoot.
I'm gonna have to read this.
Yeah, I'm be playing it for a whole week, man.
Well, y'all got my number.
Yeah,
me, bro.
Definitely, without a doubt. Yeah, and we gonna ride. Most definitely.
For sure.
Oh man, this was a good episode. So with that being said, this is your boy Kemetic Energy.
Your girl Golden.
Sure day.
Boy, Cray.
We
With my man Papa Lou. Moments with Papa Lou, man.
Appreciate y'all, man.
All right, peace out, peoples. Peace and love. This show is produced by Livewire Sound and Entertainment. If you're looking to rent premium sound equipment for your next concert or podcast at a low price, go to www.livewiresoundent.com. Dirty Mouth Radio.